Sign 3. Contradictory body language. The body doesn't lie. Dr. Albert Mehrabian, a pioneer in body language research, concluded in his studies that communication is only 7% verbal. The rest is tone of voice and, overwhelmingly, physiology. Someone can say, "I'm so happy for you," with their words, but if their body is screaming the opposite, believe the body. Look for the microsignals. The person smiles, but the smile doesn't reach their eyes. It's what psychologists call a Pan-Am smile, a forced smile that only involves the mouth, while the muscles around the eyes remain inert. A genuine smile, the Duchenne smile, creates crow's feet. Their absence can indicate falsehood. Other signs include defensively crossed arms while they congratulate you, feet pointed toward the exit while they're talking to you, an unconscious desire to escape, or eye contact that is either too intense, almost aggressive, or completely absent. They might nod in agreement, but the movement is stiff, almost reluctant-y. 8 signs someone secretly hates you, confirmed by psychology. Have you ever felt it? That almost imperceptible shift in the atmosphere when a certain person walks into the room. It's not something you can quite put your finger on or prove. It's an undercurrent, a gut feeling that something's off. You smile, they smile back, but the air grows heavy. You ask yourself, is it all in my head? It's not. That feeling is your intuition, picking up on frequencies the conscious mind often ignores. Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius wrote about the dissonance between a man's words and his actions, and psychologist Carl Jung argued that we all project a shadow, the parts of ourselves we repress. Sometimes, someone's hatred for you is nothing more than a reflection of the hatred they have for their own shadow, which they see in you. So, how can we navigate these murky waters and identify this silent hostility? In the next few minutes, we're going to decode the signs. And I urge you to stay tuned, because the last sign is, by far, most insidious and subtle, and it has the power to completely change the way you perceive the people you think you know. Identifying veiled animosity isn't about becoming paranoid. It's about developing clarity. It's about protecting your inner peace and choosing where to invest your emotional energy. When you learn to read between the lines of human behavior, you become less reactive and more mindful. You replace anxiety with understanding. The first sign we'll explore is perhaps the most common, but its nuances run deep. Sign 1. The poisoned compliment. This isn't a direct insult. On the contrary, it comes wrapped up like a gift. It's the classic backhanded compliment. Imagine you've landed a promotion and you share the news. Instead of a simple, genuine congratulations, you hear, "Wow, that's amazing. They must have been really desperate for new people over there." Or maybe you bought a new car and the comment is, "Nice car." It's amazing how affordable those models are getting these days. Feel the sting. The first part of the sentence lifts you up, and the second subtly pulls you back down, devaluing your accomplishment. It's a tactic to maintain a sense of superiority. The person can't openly attack your success, so they contaminate it with a small dose of poison. It satisfies their need to diminish you while maintaining the appearance of congratulating you. The psychology behind this is fascinating. The person offering a backhanded compliment is actually revealing their own insecurities. Your success acts as a mirror, reflecting what's missing in their own life. By diminishing your achievement, they try, for a brief moment, to dim the reflection in that mirror. Pay attention. How often do the compliments you receive from certain people come with a "but," "and even though," or a remark that puts you down? This is an extremely common form of passive aggression in competitive environments, whether at work or even within friend circles. The person who secretly hates or envies you can't genuinely celebrate you because to them, your victory feels like a personal defeat. Recognizing this isn't meant to make you angry, but to help you understand the dynamic and not absorb the implicit negativity. Sign 2. Selective enthusiasm. Pay close attention to how people react to the different news you share. Someone who secretly resents you will often show a disproportionate enthusiasm for your bad news. If you mention that you missed a deadline, made a mistake, or are going through a hard time suddenly, this person is extremely attentive, engaged, asking detailed questions. They lean in, their eyes shining with a kind of morbid curiosity. On the other hand, when you share good news, a successful project, a happy relationship, a planned vacation, the reaction is the polar opposite. The enthusiasm vanishes. They might offer a monosyllabic cool, look away, check their phone, or worse, quickly change the subject to talk about themselves. This dissonance in their reaction is a glaring sign. This phenomenon is known in German as Schadenfreude, the pleasure derived from the misfortune of others. For someone who sees you as a rival, your failures bring them a sense of relief and validation. It confirms, in their distorted inner world, that you're not so great after all, that you're also flawed. It levels the playing field in their mind. It's a deeply human, albeit dark, behavior. We all have a hint of it, but when it's a consistent pattern coming from a single person, it's a strong indicator of hidden hostility. Do this mental exercise. Think about the last time you shared a big win with this person. What was their immediate reaction? Did their body language open up in celebration, or did it close off in indifference? The answer to that question is incredibly revealing. This isn't about demanding that everyone celebrate your victories with the same intensity you do. It's about noticing a consistent pattern of disinterest in your well-being and a keen interest in your misfortune. This is one of the clearest ways to identify someone who isn't on your team. These are manifestations of cognitive dissonance. The person's mind is trying to be polite and socially acceptable, but their body, which is a more honest expression of the subconscious, leaks their true emotion: discomfort, resentment, anger. It's an internal tug-of-war that manifests physically. Think of it like a radio station. The words are one frequency, but the body is broadcasting on another, far more powerful one. Your job is to learn to tune into that second frequency. Start observing not just what people say, but what their bodies do while they're saying it. Congruence, or the lack thereof, is where the truth lies. Sign 4. The subtle sabotage. This sign is particularly dangerous because it operates in the shadows and makes you question your own sanity. Subtle sabotage isn't a frontal assault. It's a series of little accidents and convenient slip-ups that consistently undermine you. In the workplace, it might be the coworker who forgets to include you on an important email, or who forgets to pass along a crucial message from a client. It could be the person who praises your work to your face, but plants seeds of doubt about your competence behind your back, always under the guise of concern. In your personal life, it might be the friend who accidentally spills a secret of yours to other people, or who gives you terrible advice with the best of apparent intentions. The pattern is always the same. Their action causes you harm, but the person has plausible deniability. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, it totally slipped my mind. I didn't know it was a secret." This is a form of calculated passive aggression. It allows the aggressor to attack you without ever having to take responsibility. And the effect on you is devastating because, on top of the practical damage, there's psychological damage. You start to feel paranoid, to second-guess everything. You know, intuitively, that it was intentional, but you have no way to prove it. The best way to handle subtle sabotage is through documentation and calm, direct communication. Instead of accusing, you state the facts. "I noticed I wasn't included on the last 3 emails about Project X. Is there an issue with my access? Or was that an oversight?" This forces the person out of the shadows. Their reaction to this calm confrontation will tell you everything you need to know. Sign 5. The relentless focus on your flaws. We all have flaws, and we all make mistakes. True friends and people who care about us see these mistakes, but they contextualize them within the bigger picture of who we are. Someone who secretly hates you does the opposite. They take your mistakes and put them under a microscope, making them seem like the entirety of your identity. This person has an elephant's memory for every gaffe you've made, every misplaced word, every project that didn't pan out, and they will make sure to bring it up, often in a playful way. "Remember that time you said that thing in the meeting? That was hilarious. The joke is just a veil for the hostility. The goal is to embarrass you and keep you in your place. While their memory for your failures is impeccable, their memory for your successes is conveniently selective. They forget about that time you saved the project, or that praise you received from the boss. Your victories are minimized or ignored, while your defeats are cataloged and revisited. This happens because, in this person's mind, you are the villain of their story. And to maintain that narrative, they need to constantly collect evidence that confirms it. Your mistakes are proof that they are right to dislike you. It's a vicious cycle of confirmation bias that fuels their resentment. When you realize someone is more interested in your archives of failure than in your potential for growth, walk away. You don't need the energy of a museum curator for your worst moments. You deserve to be around people who remind you of your strengths, not your weaknesses. Triangulation is even more manipulative. The person will create a conflict between you and a third party. They might tell you that so-and-so said something bad about you, and then go tell so-and-so that you said something bad about them. They position themselves as the neutral messenger, when in reality, they are lighting the fire and watching the chaos unfold. The goal of these tactics is to isolate and weaken you without ever exposing themselves. The person remains in the shadows, looking like a loyal friend, while orchestrating conflicts all around you. They are creating an army by proxy to fight their battles for them. If you suspect this is happening, resist the urge to react immediately to the information brought to you. Go directly to the source. Talk to the person who supposedly said something about you. Calmly and without accusation, seek clarity. It's come to my attention that there might be a misunderstanding between us. Can we talk? Often, this single act of direct communication exposes the manipulator and unravels the web they've woven. And now, we arrive at the eighth and most treacherous of the signs. It's the hardest to detect because it hides in plain sight, masked as normality. It is the sign that, once you learn to see it, you can no longer be blind to. Sign 8. The energy vacuum. This sign isn't about what the person says or does. It's about how you feel in their presence. Pay close attention to this. After you interact with this person, do you feel energized, inspired, and light? Or do you feel drained, heavy, anxious, and strangely exhausted? People who harbor secret resentment, envy, or hatred emit a dissonant energetic frequency. They don't have to say a word. Their mere presence in the room is enough to create a sense of weight. It's like walking into a room where a fight just ended. The conflict still hangs in the air. You could be having a perfectly normal conversation about the weather, but beneath the surface, you feel an immense strain. You feel like you have to perform, that you're being constantly judged and evaluated. You leave the interaction not just tired, but needing time to recover, to shake off that energetic gunk that seems to have stuck to you. This happens because your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response, is picking up on the non-verbalized hostility. Your body is on high alert, even if your conscious mind doesn't understand why. It's exhausting work to be around someone who, deep down, wishes you ill. It is a silent battle that your body is fighting. This is the most insidious sign because it's the easiest to ignore and rationalize. Oh, I must just be tired today. Maybe I'm just being too sensitive. But I ask you, does this feeling of exhaustion happen consistently with a specific person? If the answer is yes, trust your intuition. Trust the data your body is giving you. It is the most sophisticated detection instrument you own. Recognizing these signs isn't an invitation to create a world of enmity and distrust. On the contrary, it's a tool to cultivate a healthier garden for your soul. The point isn't to build walls, but to learn how to tend to your boundaries. It's about understanding that your energy is your most precious resource, and you have the right to protect it. As psychologist Paul Ekman describes in his seminal book, Telling Lies, Microexpressions, and the Contradictions Between Words and the Body reveal the emotions we try to hide. Science confirms what our intuition whispers. Similarly, a Stanford University study on social dissonance showed how the presence of a hostile individual in a group can lower the performance and well-being of all other members, even if the hostility isn't overt. To recap, we've looked at the poisoned compliments that devalue, the selective enthusiasm that celebrates your pain, the body language that contradicts words, the subtle sabotage that makes you doubt yourself, the relentless focus on your mistakes, the exclusion that isolates, the use of others as weapons, and finally, the energy vacuum that drains your vitality. The central idea we presented in the introduction is that your intuition is real and valid. Now, you don't just have the feeling, you have a framework, a map to understand where that feeling is coming from. The ultimate goal isn't to confront every person who exhibits one of these signs. The real power lies in quiet clarity. It is the ability to see the situation for what it is, without absorbing the negativity, and to make conscious choices about where and with whom you share your light. If this reflection brought you clarity, consider subscribing to the channel for more journeys into self-awareness and human understanding.